Welcome in, along with Zach Robinson. I'm Steve Palazzolo. Today discussing 3 NFL quarterbacks. We did it last week. We had a breakdown of Jared Goff, Patrick Mahomes, and Baker Mayfield. Today, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Phillip Rivers. It was the young guys last week. This week, though, some of the older quarterbacks that are still, the veterans, right?
Gotta love these guys.
You're kind of in between both of those guys, right? You know, former Brady backup for, 2 weeks?
A couple weeks, yeah. A cup of coffee. We'll give it 5 months.
Okay, 5-month Tom Brady backup. You know everything about the greatest quarterback of all time. But, yeah, the veterans, they're all still playing extremely well. So let's break down their game from a PFF standpoint, from a film standpoint, mesh them all together, because that's what we do here. We grade every single player on every play, giving unique insights. And when we do that, Drew Brees right now ranks atop all of the quarterbacks in the NFL, a 92.8 grade. What are you seeing from Brees on film so far this year?
Just efficient, not making any mistakes. He's got the least amount of negative throws in the NFL, just 17 negative grades, which is the fewest in the NFL by a good margin, but he's not making many mistakes, throwing it up the seams as well as he always has. And then he's taking the deep shots. You don't see a ton of man-to-man coverage against the Saints for a bunch of good reasons, but when they do see man-to-man, he's taking deep shots. He has the 4th most big-time throws versus man coverage. So just taking efficient shots, when he needs to, and then just distributing the ball to all these guys he's got to throw to.
He was our most accurate quarterback last year on a throw-for-throw basis, and completion percentage is sometimes not a great stat to describe accuracy, but with Brees it does mesh extremely well. He's completing 77% of his passes this year. It's absolutely crazy. So he's finding open receivers at every single level. And then even when he's under pressure and things aren't going great, he's got the number 3 grade and a passer rating of 88.2. A lot of things just going really well for Brees so far.
That's been huge. The under pressure stuff, you look at some of these guys that are getting up there in age, if they're still able to play well under pressure and not getting affected in the pocket. We saw Brees, break the pocket last week, find a guy on the sideline late in that game. So he's had a ton of those plays and just always understanding where his outlets are. If he is under pressure, there's no negative throws because he knows where his outlets are, and he's getting the ball to those guys to make plays.
This is the best he's played in recent years. He has 13 touchdowns, no interceptions. And again, the context behind that, he does have 4 turnover-worthy plays, which is excellent, so he should have at least 1 or 2 picks.
Yeah.
But doing an extremely good job taking care of the ball, and like you said, one of the lowest percentage of negatively graded throws in the entire NFL. So Drew Brees sitting there at number 1. The one thing I don't criticize him necessarily. I do always mention, though, he's so much more comfortable in the dome versus outdoors, but he had a really nice game last week against the Baltimore Ravens. The one game where he looked a little iffy was the New York Giants game outdoors. So there are some favorable conditions there for Brees, but still, throw for throw as good as anybody right now.
Absolutely. That definitely helps. And then you look at division-wise where he plays. They play against Atlanta. They play against Tampa Bay. They got a lot of warm weather games. So you do want to see later in the season if he can, sustain this level of play and the efficiency throwing down the field if they have those, outdoor weather games.
All right, let's move on to Tom Brady, currently number 4 in the PFF grading system at 90.5. He's been the number 1 graded quarterback each of the last 2 years by actually a substantial margin. So we can actually say Tom Brady has taken a step back this season, still playing at a high level, but it hasn't been as efficient and as clean as it's been in recent years. What are you seeing from Brady and the Patriots offense?
I think the last 4 weeks kind of catching stride. We saw the Detroit game. That was just a disaster.
That was a rough one,
across the board, but still playing really, really good football. You look at just situationally, 3rd down, under pressure, in the red zone. He's in the top 5 in all those. He's clicking on every box there. Some of the decision-making down the field, we've seen a few forced throws in there, but the top thing to me is he is the highest graded passer by a good margin on 3rd downs inside the red zone. He's 8 for 12 with 7 touchdowns.
Wow.
Crushing it inside the red zone this year on 3rd downs. But it was good to see Josh Gordon, kind of open up. I think that's just going to bring a whole new element once all these guys get back healthy.
That is the scary part with Gordon, with Julian Edelman, who definitely is needed in this offense because that's, Brady's weapon that he relies on, short, intermediate level of the field. And then when Gronk is completely healthy, which he hasn't really been this year, and then now the back injury, that can make them dangerous. The plays you mentioned, 3rd downs in the red zone, that's what they call the 4-point play, right? It's either you score a touchdown or you're settling for a field goal. So being efficient on those plays, those are huge for an offense, right?
Absolutely. That's some of the biggest plays, reasons why you win football games is those 3rd downs in the red zone, inside the 10. Sometimes you got to kind of extend the play within the pocket. We see him do that over and over. But I think if there is one category where we want to see an uptick, it's the 20-plus throws. He's 10 for 32, 305 yards. Hasn't hit as many. We haven't seen Chris Hogan get loose like he has in the past. But that's where Josh Gordon comes into play, and we saw just the faith that he has a couple times, especially last week. Josh Gordon going up and over a guy on the sideline. So that's got to come up, and you expect it will.
Yeah, losing Brandon Cooks hurts there as well. But with Gordon, we saw a few times some miscommunications on back shoulder throws, but they had the good one last week against the Bears. And then the other name we said we were going to mention, it's Phillip Rivers, Los Angeles Chargers. I think people are calling him an MVP candidate, and I think when you look statistically, it's there. Grade-wise, it's there as well. He's number 6 right now. He's number 5 right now. I took Ryan Fitzpatrick out of our rankings. He doesn't count in our rankings because he's not playing anymore.
Yeah, he's not a starter, but he did play well.
He did play unbelievable when he was out there, but we're calling Rivers number 5 at 90.2, the number 2 grade under pressure, and this has really been the story of his season. Number 2 grade under pressure, but his passer rating of 118.5 is on pace to be the best we've ever seen by a large margin.
It's been incredible, and you look at some of, in the past, he can get a little, under pressure, force some throws. He has 0 turnover-worthy throws under pressure.
That's a big
reason why he's playing so well. He's another guy that he's not wasting any time. If he feels the rush closing in, he's finding an outlet. He's making big throws down the field. And then the play-action passing game, I'm sure you're going to touch on here.
Yeah, 158.3, a perfect passer rating. With play action. He's
it's
got
insane,
Tyrell Williams has kind of been his guy, those deep over routes. I mean, what else are they doing schematically to kind of incorporate all these playmakers?
It seems like every single week they've got the perfect play call against the perfect coverage, and they're executing. We saw against the Browns. We saw last week against the Titans. They know the look that they're going to get, and then Rivers is coming out, and he's taking advantage of it. But just overall, 32 for 40, 542 yards on play action, 13.6 yards per attempt, which is by far the highest in the NFL. So the play action game, the under pressure, that's really been a story.
And on one hand, those are good things. It's good to be good under pressure and with play action. Unfortunately, not to pull anything away from Rivers, they're the tough things to sustain. So I think that's going to be the big question. Our numbers guys hammer home. Play action, less stable. Under pressure, less stable. So it's great that he's doing well in those situations, but can he sustain it in the second half of the season? I think that's going to be a big question.
Yeah.
My question for you as we talk about the old guys still playing well, has this completely changed the NFL? The rules, and if you have a guy that's just so smart, that's smart like a Brees, a Brady, Rivers, always knows where to go with the football, it feels like these guys could play till they're 45.
I'm with you. I mean, these guys absolutely have seen every single defensive look. Now the rules are so advantageous that these guys can play well into their 40s, as these guys are showing. The arm strength, I think, you look at just how these guys take care of their bodies and everything, and everything's obviously speculation on what you hear, but you see it as well, that there's no, you don't see their arm deteriorating like a Peyton Manning from injuries in the past, but all 3 of these guys just have the same game that they did even 5 years ago. Their arms look good, decision-making's as good as ever, and they've seen every look in the book, so they know where to go before the snap most of the time.
So there you have it. The top 5 quarterbacks at PFF right now, a couple young guys, Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff, but then the old guys, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and Phillip Rivers, all in the top 5 right now. You guys can check out the entire list of our quarterback rankings over at ProFootballFocus.com. Get your PFF Elite package, and I'm actually going to give 20% off, Zach, 20% off any PFF product if you use promo code YouTube. So use YouTube as the promo code. You get 20% off any product at PFF, including PFF Elite, where you can check out these quarterback rankings.